you see me and can you hear me?
I can see you and I can hear you.
Ooh, success. There we go. Finally. I'm only 45 minutes late. No big deal. So sorry.
If this was a go-see challenge, you would lose.
Yes, I would lose. I would be like running around completely lost. Well, it doesn't help that I'm a super old soul. So I'm like 80 years old at heart, and probably I don't know, maybe that combined with terrible connection. But I'm here. So that's the important thing.
Yay! Okay, let me just check one thing.
Okay.
Like good still.
Let me see if I can. Okay, I know the background is I'm at my family's vet clinic, so there's going to be filing cabinets.
I can hear you. Okay, I'm gonna make sure they see us.
So since we're in the studio on this StreamYard, will I be able to see people's comments as they come in, or will you just ask me the questions? How will that work? What you doing?
Hold on, I'm coming.
You're fine. No worries. I've kept you waiting this long, so no worries at all.
Okay. So how we're gonna do this is I've already pulled questions. I should go get my computer now. But I pulled questions from my YouTube and my Instagram section that are like popular questions that I think would give us like a holistic interview. And then what happens is once I'm done talking to you, I do open up the airways for the people to ask questions for you. And then since we're doing it this way, I can pin it in the thingy and you can see them.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. So I'll see them live as we talk.
Eventually, yes.
Mm-hmm. Eventually. Okay, awesome. Sounds good. I'm just gonna go with the flow, and you're the expert here, so I'm just here for the ride.
Okay, so listen. Okay, let me do my intro. What's going on, everybody? This is Oliver Twixt, the head nerd in charge, here with another Amtm Twixt exclusive, and I'm talking to Victoria Henley from Cycle 19, the college edition of America's Next Top Model.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're so welcome. You is whatever one of the highly requested folks that I go live with.
Really? I'm flattered. You know, the thing is, I kept getting all of these messages in, like, when are you going to interview with Oliver Twixt? You know, Oliver Twixt, I was always hearing about that. And so I looked you up, and I'm a fan of your work. I love what you do. So I'm excited we made this happen.
Thank you so much. Well, listen, Victoria, if you don't like any of the questions, blame the fans. Don't blame me. Okay, for their questions and the things that they want to know from you. And I'm in.
Okay. No worries.
So, without further ado, Jordan S on YouTube is saying, "Loves Victoria. Tell us about that. Tell us about this iconic moment / quote."
There's no telling.
And I quote, Victoria said, "You bitch. No, you're a bitch. No, I'm a real bitch." And I'm like, that's not an argument. Where did that come from? And what made you say that?
Oh my goodness. So in the house, I was, and of course they talked about this a lot. I came from a small town. I was homeschooled. So that was the big thing. And I was roommates with Kiara. I should remember, who else was I roommates with? I can't even remember, guys. I need to look back. But anyway, I was in the bed. I was trying to get some sleep. And Kiara and Darian were out in the hall. And I just hear all the screaming, like screaming and screaming. And mind you, we had to wake up really early for our producer interviews. So I was really tired, and all I could hear is like, "You bitch. No, you're a bitch. No, I'm the real bitch. No, I'm the real bitch." And it went on and on and on forever. And I finally just like, you can only take so much until you just snap. And I just got out of bed and I was like, "Oh my gosh, be quiet." Honestly, to this day, I really don't know. I'm a bitch. You're a bitch. I'm a bitch. You're a bitch went on forever. And I just basically was like, is that an argument? Were they just stating, were they trying to state something they thought was factual? I have no idea. I still, to this day, I don't know. And I see Kiara a lot at fashion shows. I probably need to ask her about that. But that "I'm a bitch, you're a bitch" thing went on a very long time.
So I think to give it some context, because I come from the same culture that Kiara and them come from when they were talking about it. So when people refer to themselves as a bitch in our culture, it's like it's almost like a term of endearment. And depending on how you use it, it could be almost like a trophy. So when people say, I'm
Right.
a real bitch, that's like, you know, I'm a tick, you know, there's like a fake with me. I'm the top of the, and you know, that's a trophy in my community. So just to give you a little bit of context.
I gotcha. I've heard like I'm the realist, I'm the real bitch, but then it almost seemed like they were accusing each other of being a bitch, but then they were like, I'm the real bitch. I was confused. So I think I get the context a little more now. But it went on and on for a while. But I think so. Maybe like who's the realist bitch? And maybe that's what it was all about. I get it now. I get it. Who's the realist?
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's one of those things where connotation steps into play. So when they're saying I'm a real bitch, that's like them saying like I'm honest, I'm not fake, I'm authentic. And when they're saying you're a bitch, that's probably like you're mean, you're nasty, you're not likable.
That's where it came in. There's like, oh, I'm the real bitch, and then you're a bitch, just like you're not. Okay, I've got it now. Well, I've met Darian and Kiara are both awesome. So they're both the real bitch in a good way, not in a bad way. I'm gonna clear that up right now.
Thank you for that. Jordan S also wants to know, Victoria seemed really mistreated and bullied in the house, though she continued to fight as a strong contestant and did not allow them to make her a victim. If she could say something to the people in the house who made all those awful comments, what would she say now? Excuse me.
You know, it's funny. And I love all of these questions, by the way. Thank you so much for that. I mean, now looking back, I feel like it's so easy to gain perspective. I mean, like Oliver, look back what you were doing 10 years ago. You're probably a different person, right? I mean, a lot of us probably are. So when something's fresh, and like back then, I probably would have had a whole lot to say when it was kind of fresh on my mind. There were not, I feel like a lot of the girls in the house were in the same kind of situation that I was. They were in a new situation. They were stressed. You know, you're there, you're trying to make a name for yourself. I get it. There's, you know, a couple of people in the house, and probably everybody knows who I'm referring to, that really were just like the true kind of quintessential high school kind of bully. Now looking back at that, I wish my reaction to certain things had been a little bit different. And I'm not like shaming anybody who's, maybe you've been a victim of bullying. It's never your fault that somebody comes at you because you're different. Like being different that's what makes us us. But I think now my reaction to the whole situation would have been different, and I would have allowed myself to stay a little bit more in my lane and not letting them come over, veering into my lane, running into my car, so to speak, and messing up my stride, because I pretty much let every single thing get to me then. So now looking back, me as Victoria now talking to some of those people would say, listen, you know, I get you. I get what you were thinking. I hope you've grown. I sincerely hope that for you. And I hope that you're doing well, because when you're constantly just baring your teeth to other people, that's no good for you. It's no good for them. No good for anybody.
Yes, ma'am, Victoria. Okay. Jordan S also wants to know, Kristen, a lot of questions about.
I'm sure.
Kristen is quite possibly the worst Amtm villain in the history of the show. Do you think she actually could model, or that she was kept on the show due to her mean or evil personality?
That's a really good question, Jordan. Thank you for hanging out with us and all these questions. So, yeah, Kristen was, you know, and I know that Kristen on social media, I think maybe had to change her name or something, because so many people, you know, people can deal with the crazy person, right? People can deal with all of this, but when people see somebody who's being a bully, they're going to come after that, because whether it might trigger, you know, childhood trauma from bullies and things like that. So I think that a lot of people didn't like Kristen, and they didn't like what they saw. So I know that Kristen got her fair share of feedback after the show. I mean, that's no secret. It's really hard to find her online. A lot of questions that I get were about Kristen. I will say that Kristen, I do think she's obviously a gorgeous girl. She's beautiful, and she can model, and she's done modeling since the show. I definitely think that aspect of her personality, because reality show producers, they need the mean girl, right? They need the crazy girl. They need the crying girl. They need the, you know, mama's girl, whatever. They need all of that for that dynamic. So I think the reason that she was that like bully role did keep her on a longer time. I mean, I absolutely do. I think that she's gorgeous, but I think that maybe some other people's, like how they pursued the challenges and photo shoots and all of that, might have been a little stronger than hers, even though she is stunning and had that to work with. So, I mean, I think it was a part of it, if I'm being honest, for sure.
Was she like that all the time?
She was, and the thing about it is it's really hard to tell somebody's true personality when you're in that environment. I will say, if I'm being really honest, my experiences with her were not the best. And I know a lot of people in the house, it was not the best experience with her. So whether to say she's like that all the time is, I don't know. You saw a lot of interviews with her after the show. She was like, it's all editing. It was all editing. I mean, you can't just, I was really careful not to blame everything I did. There were times I acted completely bonkers. Like, and I did. I gave the producers something to work with. Like, you can't just edit someone to be a complete way.
Right.
Kristen had times she was mean. I mean, she was a bully. And you can't, I feel like it would have been a lot cooler if she had owned up to that instead of just being like, well, it's all editing. It's all, they made me look that way. She acted that. My experience with her is she was acting like that all the time. I know that I think she was good friends with Laura in the house. So maybe Laura's perspective of her would be totally different. But my experience with her, and I think Leela and Destiny, maybe, who might be joining, I don't know, Destiny's awesome. But a lot of people had that same experience. And that's sad that kind of came over and messed up what we were trying to, we were all just trying to have a good time. And yeah, it kind of threw a wrench in the plans for sure.
Dang it, Kristen.
Right?
Jordan also wants to know, did you ever do any acting after Top Model?
Acting, that's a good question. Yes, so I did. My big thing is hosting. So like you, Oliver, I love interviewing people, and I love like kind of getting into people's minds. So I have a show on iHeartRadio called Backstage Pass, and I love that. I hosted for Jewelry Television, who's a home shopping network, and so we do like all the jewelry at New York and LA Fashion Week and some overseas stuff. So I host for them. I hosted 2 years, and now I do their like traveling and liaisoning and blog content. So mostly hosting, but my favorite acting was I did Shakespeare, and I worked with a touring Shakespeare company, and I was Miranda in The Tempest and Midsummer Night's Dream and all that really cool stuff. So yeah, I was Nell in Steel Magnolias and Wendy and Peter Pan. So I love, like, I'm a huge theater nerd, like huge. I love anything theater. I'm all about it. So mostly theater, a couple films as well, and absolutely, kind of love getting into character. You guys saw that on the show. I drove everybody completely crazy, and I could not care less because I was going to get into my characters, and it definitely helped me in photo shoots. So I do love acting.
Can you sing?
Can I sing? I'm not much of a in the shower. I know if I say yes, you're gonna put me on the spot and make me sing. So I'm gonna be clever right now. But yeah, I have some on YouTube of me singing a little bit, and I sing a little bit. It's been a while, so I'm probably not gonna try that right now. But I do. I enjoy singing along to the radio, and I have my moments.
Yes. Who were your favorite and least favorite judges?
That's a really good question. Okay, my favorite judges. That's a hard one. Well, of course, with the judges, it was kind of the new judges panel. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I went on to the show, and I had no idea that the judges panel had changed. I was expecting I was Miss J and Mr. J and Nigel, and I was like psyched, and I got there. I had not watched the show since I was a kid, which is horrible. I should have prepared, right? But I showed up, and I'm asking the producers, I'm like, where's Miss J? Where's Nigel? And they're like, oh my God, did you not even look this up? They're not here anymore. So I didn't know who any of these people were. I didn't know who anybody was. I was so confused. But yeah, I really liked, being in front of Tyra. And I know, like, when you look at interviews, a lot of people have mixed opinions about Tyra. She's all business, she's all business. But I think, like, I was most honored to stand in front of her because she's queen. I mean, she's Queen Tyra. One of the producers told me, like, Tyra was a big reason she watched your audition video, and she said, I want this girl on the show. Like, Tyra was a big one, kind of volleying for me to get there. So I guess I'm gonna have to say Tyra was probably my favorite judge. My least favorite judge. Wow, that's a hard one because I don't know. I would say everybody would probably expect me to say Kelly Catrone, right? Because she was the Simon Cowell. She was kind of the, the mean one. Behind the scenes, though, I feel like a lot of that was her kind of playing a character a little bit, because there were times, like, when the cameras weren't rolling, that she'd pull me aside and give me advice. So even though I'm tempted and she was really harsh to me, like, while the cameras were rolling, she was really nice when the cameras weren't on. So who am I going to say? I'm going to say, I think, like, And I don't want to say Brian Boy either, because he kind of, I feel like maybe Brian Boy was a little bit inconsistent, sort of like he'd give you advice and then he'd criticize you for the very thing he told you to do. And I don't like inconsistency. I like, straightforward, tell me what's going on and I'm going to go with it. So Tyra favorite, maybe Brian Boy, I would say least.
Okay. We thank you for your honesty.
That was a long answer, but I I don't like dislike it. There's no bad blood, but I don't know. I would have to say if I rank them, yeah.
You said what you said. So now Ashley McNeil from YouTube wants to know, they show Victoria talking to her mom a lot, but that was clearly edited because now we know they barely got to talk to their people anyways. A bunch of questions about you and your mother and your phone conversations and all of that. What are your thoughts about people who critique, especially the girls in the house that were like, she's always on the phone with her mother? What is your response to the people who critique you and your mother's relationship and how you were clearly, you were dependent on her while you were in the top model house?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's so funny. Like when I watched the show, I had no idea that it was going to be pretty much me. Oh my gosh, mama. Like if you didn't watch the show, that's the show. Like anytime I was on it, I was screaming about mama for sure. Yeah. So a lot of that was, I will say, gosh, what could I say? Half and half. Maybe half of it was me just missing my mom. I mean, you guys, I was, again, from a small town, homeschooled. I know they played that to death, and that's what reality shows do. Like you have your little character niche, and that's what you are. And I'll be damned if you change from that. That's what you're going to be.
Say it again.
So, yes, exactly. So I'll have to say that, they took that and ran with it. They saw that I clearly missed my mom. Like there was a moment, I think I had gotten in the bottom two. I was stressed out. Kristen was doing her thing. People were doing their thing. And I got stressed and I was like, oh my gosh, I miss my mom. Well, the producers after that conveniently wouldn't let me talk about anything but my mom. Like we'd do a photo shoot and they'd be like, do you miss your mom? Do you miss your mom? And I'd try to talk about something. They were like, no, talk about your mom, and it was always, I would be talking about one thing and did your mom do cheerleading after the cheerleading photo shoot? And they would, have me talking about my mom. So it made it look like all I talked about was mom. When in fact, all they asked me about was my mom. I was a naive 18-year-old, guys, that had never, and so I fell for everything, hook, line, and sinker. Of course I was going to talk about mom. Of course I was going to. So I was probably a reality show producer's dream. You can't blame them for that. They're there. They're trying to make a show. They're trying to make the crazy. So, and I brought the crazy. But I will say that I'm still like best friends with my mom. We work together. She's a great photographer. We work together in that capacity. And I would say that probably the contestants were like on some, especially that phone call that the phone cut out. And that was my phone time. We got like 5-10 minutes on the phone and I was freaking out. And that was the shot heard around the world. So that was definitely a moment. And of course, all the contestants are crowded, like right outside the phone booth listening. And that was a big thing. And it was all over the previews. And I think part of it was misconstrued. And then part of it, maybe they did think was kind of bonkers. Who knows how it was interpreted, but one thing's for sure. I was the mama's girl of that season. That was what was up.
Yes. I probably would have been a mama's boy too, because I love my mom too.
I mean, come on. If our moms are awesome, why not love your mom? That's the thing. I mean, if you've got a great mom, that was me that season. I was missing my mom constantly. And those cameras were rolling for every single second of me missing my mom. They captured it all. So
Ashley McNeil also wants to know, please ask her about the Tyler Perry challenge. Was she afraid when that man threw that chicken at her?
Oh my gosh.
Throw the chicken.
Chicken was flying, y'all. Chicken was all over the place. Yeah. So that was, I love, that was right up my alley, because when I was a little kid, I would do improv videos with my friends. Like that's what we would do, is we would get back in my friend Emily's bedroom and we would roll the little cameras and we would make up these characters. And so Rashada Bourgeois was one of my characters when I was little. And I had my take on Rashada Bougie, I guess. I have no idea what I was doing. I had a whole backstory. I had my little red dress and my hat, and I was, so I was Rashada Bourgeois, and I was running all over LA. day. There was a man, and I guess he was a homeless man, and I don't know. People were interacting with people, and I had a plate. It was food that I probably desperately needed to eat, honestly, on the show, and I had my little to-go box. And I brought it up to him, and I don't really know the context of it, but I could see like the dagger shooting in his eyes, and he got the box and just like hit it from the bottom, and food just like exploded like a piñata all over me and all over the place. And there was chicken, and it looked really good. I was planning to eat that chicken, so I was kind of sad. And I did not get replacement chicken, by the way. Nobody brought me any more chicken, so I don't know what was up with catering, but yeah, that chicken went flying, and I was scared for a second there. Tyra and Tyler were in my ear like, stay away from him. What are you doing with the food? I was supposed to listen to their direction, and I don't think I listened one time. I just did my own. I went rogue, you guys, for sure.
That is funny. Victoria, that is funny. I'm so sorry. And, so let me tell you why I was able to connect with you on the show is, I said it earlier on Instagram while we were trying to troubleshoot, is that I always appreciate personalities who are personalities no matter what. Like, put them in a room with 5 other people, they're going to be themselves no matter what the situation. And it was like, no matter what, you were Victoria. And I feel like everything you did and how you responded, how you acted, like that's who you were on the inside. And it doesn't help that it's also funny.
I'm one of those people that, like, if I'm trying to be funny, if I'm sitting here telling you jokes, I'll get it wrong. I'll get the punchline wrong. Like, I'm not going to be funny if I try, but I am unintentionally funny. Like that's me. And I'm quirky. And I think that's the thing that back then what's funny is I didn't realize I was quirky. I just thought I was showing up as whatever. So I think after the show, I think I've learned to kind of channel that and grow into it even more. But like you said, like, let your flag fly. I'm all about those quirky people that be yourself, because you get one trip around it. You get one time, you get one shot. So you might as well be as weird and crazy and quirky as you want to be. You nailed it. Those are my kind of people too, for sure.
Yes, that is great advice. That is awesome advice. Why does she think they made makeovers a choice this season? Did she actually regret not getting it, or did she say that for the cameras?
That's a really good question too. So they brought us in, of course, they brought us into this Beverly Hills salon and took us in, and they said, we're doing things a little bit differently this year. Of course, they did everything differently that year, the different judges and the whole. So, and keep in mind, I had not watched the show in some time, but I did know that makeovers were like the big to do. That was when all the waterworks came out and people, getting little pixie cuts. I just remember standing there and hoping that they did not give me a pixie cut, because I would have looked like a Q-tip. I do not have I've got the big, you guys, this is a bunch of hair. This is like the Jewish hair. So it would have been the little, I'm Jewish. I can say Jewfro, but that would have been me if they had given me the pixie. It would not have worked. So I was standing there praying like on the blood of Jesus that was not the case. And so they said this year, and we're going to give you the choice. And I was like, oh yeah, absolutely. Now I get the choice. I should have known, like, for sure there would be repercussions for choosing, yes or no. So everybody said yes, of course, to the makeovers. They gave you the choice. You could choose yes, but the catch was you couldn't know what the makeover was before you agreed. So I was like, well, I'm just going to play it safe and say no and refuse it. And I think the little Harvard girl, Maria, I believe it was me and her, and we both were like, no, we opted out. Well, of course, it hit the fan after that. Everybody was like, all the girls were in their interviews like, oh, Victoria's an idiot for, not all the girls, but and of course the judges, like Tyra was super serious sitting down with me, and Kelly Catrone was like, who do you think you are? And I was just sitting there crying. And I was like, well, I regret it now. And they were like, well, it's too late. And one of them told me, I think Kelly was like, yeah, you're probably going to get eliminated for this. And then I got best photo the next elimination. You're right. Exactly. So I was like, how does this whole thing work? And then afterward, I tried to get one of the PAs. I told them, I was like, listen, they gave us little cash for stipends to buy like our Cheerios or wine or whatever it was with. And I had my little cash and I was like, I want to use this, go buy some dollar store red dye, because that was going to be my makeover, dyeing my hair red. I told them to go get red dye and I was going to dye my hair in the bathroom to try to, and that was before the elimination. I thought that was going to be the thing that saved me. She was like, that's probably a bad idea. You guys, if I had done that, I was totally going to do it too. I was going to dye my hair red right there in that bathroom. I had never dyed my hair. It probably would have fallen out. So it would have made a good show, but I'm really happy the PA was like, yeah, probably don't do that. But it was 100% the waterworks, me freaking out, I totally regretted it at the time. I was gonna, even after the show, I thought about dyeing my hair red. I was that much like curious, how would that turn out? But all of that was pretty real. And I even was going to take it a step further. I was going to show up at elimination with the red hair if they had let me, but they told me no.
You know what I appreciate about you too on Top Model, that I could get a great sense that you were very dedicated to wanting to win and to wanting to, you really wanted to put your best foot forward in everything that you didn't like being in places of like, ooh, I'm in the wrong right now. And just hearing that you were going to dye your hair, because it wasn't going to fall out. It was going to fall out in the sink.
It was going to fall out. Oh my gosh. I would have done it. I wouldn't have known what I was doing. I would have put everything like at the root.
More like an eraser, because you would have been bald.
I would have been, like what Jenna Turner, she pulls off the bald. Like there's some people that can pull off bald. Me, no, not bald. That would not be good. So I would have been the bald model and it would not have worked for me. So I'm happy I did, but I was dedicated. Like you said, I really was like, I think that was one of my, it was like a blessing and a curse. I took everything so seriously. Like for me, everything was do or die. Everything was life or death. Every, what is that? Every lit match was a forest fire in my mind. Like I was just, everything was a big deal. So I did take it very seriously. And I think like looking back, I think that was endearing for sure. And I'm still like that. Like I take things seriously, but hopefully I've, kind of chillaxed in some ways too. I needed to a little bit. I was intense about that hair. I was going to make it happen.
I know that's right. Just so you know, when I'm looking to the side, since we're doing it way, I'm looking to the side just to see the comments and just to make sure everything is running. So it's not that I'm doing something else. I'm just looking to the side to make sure that it's still going.
No, you're fine. I was actually going to ask, can I get some water? There's a water cooler right over here.
Yeah, girl.
Okay. All right. I'm going to try to, okay. Somebody's going to get me some, but no, you're perfect. You're perfect on that. For sure. I love the comments. I think they're great.
Yeah. Go get you some water, girl.
I'm getting some right now. No worries.
Oh, someone's bringing it to you.
Yes. I'm being extra like that. There we go.
You don't understand how many people were DMing me about interviewing you, and I'm so happy that I'm interviewing, because the Victoria that I feel like I'm on Top Model, I'm seeing right now, but I'm seeing in a more full form. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Oh, I'm enjoying this too. And you're so great at what you do. You're just like sitting down for coffee with a friend. I love it. You make this really fun.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, back into the questions. Aiden Moore also wants to know, damn, Aiden, I pulled all your questions. Thank you. Aiden Moore wants to know thoughts on these contestants. And I'm going to say their name. And you're going to tell me the first thing that comes to your brain. Okay.
All right. Okay.
So...
wait, you cut out just as you said. Did you say Jessie?
I did say Jessie.
Jessie, okay, a sweetheart. Jessie was, everybody just loved Jessie. She was one of those that kind of like how Dolly Parton is that great unifier. Like no matter who people are, they love Dolly Parton. Well, that was everybody just loved Jessie. I mean, everybody was rooting for Jessie to get in the house. Everybody was like, she was kind of that nerdy in a really cute, like funky way. She was very quiet. She was really subdued. I think the reason everybody liked her, she wasn't like polarizing. She wasn't really giving her opinion on a lot of things. And honestly, I think that's probably the reason she was, what was she, the first eliminated or second?
She definitely was the first to get the boot.
She was the first to get the boot. I think the reason she was the first to get the boot, it wasn't that she was a bad model. And obviously she was such a cute girl. I think that she it was the thing that I don't think she would give the producers anything, because producers were always asking like, "Ooh, what do you think about this girl?" She was probably like, "Oh, they're all amazing. I love them." And like, they don't want that on a reality show. They want people to like bear the claws and the teeth. So I think that's probably why Jessie got eliminated. She was too sweet for reality TV, but Jessie was a sweetheart. I like her.
You know what I've learned about reality TV, because I've done it on the internet space and I've done
Sure.
it on an official space, which we'll see in the next couple of months, is that you can be all things nice and great and pretty and talented and all that. But if you are not contributing to those people's storyline, because people also have to understand that the people who work in television, this is their job. Like, this is their, and if you're not contributing to their storyline, whether you're being combative, argumentative, or you're the person who everybody, like, whatever it is, they're going to find some sort of move you out of the way.
Yes, you said it. You said it. You've got to, and it's funny.
You got to participate.
You've got to participate for sure. That's one reason that it was funny when I auditioned for the show. And I stood in line, and there were hundreds of girls, and this guy came out. He was an assistant, and you know this, Oliver, like from what you've done, the reality TV. He said, "This is not a modeling show." That's point blank what he said. And I was like, okay, well, I thought we were in line for America's Next Top Model. He said, you're a character on this. I want you to take whatever your personality is and you bump it up like 20 notches. If you're the party girl, like you're the party girl on steroids when you do a reality show. And that's kind of that's the thing, like you have to engage. That's the reason they don't let us take our cell phones when we go to reality shows, because we can't just be sitting around like disengaged. They don't have TV. They don't have internet connection. If there's a fight, you need to be, I don't care if you're involved or you need to get involved. That's the thing with reality shows. So that's also, I think, combining that competition element and stress and all of that. And then you're also trying to like keep that in mind. If I've got to be entertaining, I've got to be part of the action. I think that's why people get on there and they act so crazy. They act crazier than they ever would around their families or friends, because it's just a whole different thing. It's the Hunger Games a little bit, just a less murderous version, hopefully.
What is Maria?
Maria, this is a blast from the past, you guys. Some of these people I have not like talked to or thought about in a long time. Maria was very pragmatic. Maria was very she was very smart. She was very thorough, well thought out. Maria would sit around with her papers and like journal. She would just sit around and like write down what she was seeing in every situation. So she was very like, she's, of course, she was very intelligent. And I think that Maria, reality TV again just was not for her. You could just see it on her face the whole time. She was just like, and she did call it like she saw it. I honestly think if Maria had not quit, she probably would have gone pretty far, just because she was unintentionally problematic in the way that like she didn't like Kelly Catrone. And you remember what she said about Kelly Catrone. It was intense. Like it was, she did not mince her word. I don't even think I knew what that word meant at that time. I was so innocent. I was like, what is that? Why is everybody so worked up about it? But yeah, Maria called it like she saw it. And I think like she was so uncomfortable by the whole situation. She left to go see her family or for some Harvard thing, and then she just left for good. And I honestly think for her like mental health, that was probably the best thing. But I think she's a beautiful girl, and I think also she probably would have been like problematic, enough to stay on if she wanted to stick around.
Darian
was life of the party. That was Darian for sure. Darian was loud. She was Nolans. She was very like, she's from New Orleans. She's a NOLA girl. So she was like that. That's Darian for sure. I actually, New Orleans Fashion Week, which is a real, it's a thing. It's a really cool thing. Darian and I kind of reunited a few years after the show and walked together. And she's really sweet. I met her mom. I met her family. We were cool. I mean, we took selfies backstage and went to the little party afterwards. She's a really nice girl. And I think she's like, she enjoys a good time. She enjoys a fun party. She's boisterous, loud. Darian's really cool.
I love, as we're talking and you keep saying, oh, I saw this girl at fashion, or I saw this girl on the runway. We'll get into your post-model career a little bit later, but I'm just enjoying this this shameless plugging that I don't even know that you know. I just enjoy it so much. Okay, Destiny, poor Destiny.
Destiny, I'm gonna say, and I don't know if Destiny's watching right now, but Destiny was my favorite girl in the house for sure. I really like Destiny. If you look up any interviews I did after the show, I have mad respect for anybody who has been through what Destiny has been through, and she was still so kind to everybody. Like, she was so kind. After I got eliminated in Jamaica, the producers like knocked on my door and they were like, "There's a girl who's really concerned about you, and she wants to talk to you." And it was Destiny standing there. It was like 2 a.m. You know, her little mascara was running and she was tired, and but she like sat there and talked to me forever. And you could just tell I really like pick up people's vibes. Best vibe about her, a total sweetheart. I couldn't go through the things she's been through and be the kind of person she is. I don't think a lot of people could. So I have mad respect for Destiny, and like definitely wish her the best. She has the best vibe about her. Really like Destiny for sure.
Yes, well put. Okay, Yvonne.
Yvonne. Yvonne. Oh my gosh. I'm like, who's Yvonne? Okay, yeah, Yvonne. I'm so sorry. Of course I do. I'm so sorry. She's memorable for sure because she's done so much like in her career. She's amazing. Yeah, I really liked Yvonne too. Yvonne was like the real deal. I think she was from Texas, right? And she had that kind of like Texas no nonsense, cut through the BS to the chase. Like, Yvonne was very no BS kind of person. And I think she's done very smart. Like, I think she worked in engineering or something like that. And then she's done really well. I mean, you see her in ad campaigns for all these huge companies. So I think Yvonne, like, her personality she was very unproblematic. I feel like she was just kind of there. She was there to do her thing. She engaged when she needed to be engaged or when people did that to her. But I think that was another thing that Yvonne probably could and should have gone further than she did. She just wasn't like, if there was chaos going on, Yvonne was going to walk away from it instead of into it. And I feel like that's the kind of person Yvonne is.
Gotcha. Alyssa,
she's another one of those that she's an FSU girl. She was like very life of the party. Yes, right. She was life of the party for sure. She's Brazilian. She was very like woo, just loud, and she had all these stories, like so many stories behind the scenes of like sorority stuff and fraternity, and like just this wild stories. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've never heard anything like that before. You know, I was so Alyssa, I don't think I really knew how to take Alyssa. I was a little bit like, oh, you know, kind of sitting on the other side of the bus, but she was a really nice girl. She was just very like, I definitely see Alyssa being any party. Like, Alyssa's gonna be there, high heels, a lot of makeup, tight dress, like, you know, social butterfly. That's Alyssa, and that's cool. Like, that's her thing. But for sure, the life of the party, definitely.
Brittany
was you know, I would say maybe sensitive. I would say Brittany was probably really sensitive. And she was a nice girl. Brittany was a really nice girl. I think that there were, in some of the I just remember Brittany like getting, and I'm one to say she got emotional because I literally cried like every second of the show. But I just know Brittany would get like really emotional during Elimination Panel. I think comments online, they had that whole social media element that people would like comment what they thought about our photo shoots. And I just remember Brittany got so upset over every little comment. And I was like, okay, so that was, I think Brittany like really got upset about a lot of things on it. And I think she's very sensitive. So I would say she's probably a very sensitive soul.
Okay. We've already talked about
who you cut out right when you said that. Who?
I said we've already talked about Kristen.
We talked about Kristen. Are we going to skip Kristen?
We're going to skip Kristen.
We're going to skip Kristen. Okay. All right.
Nastasia.
Nastasia, yes. Nastasia is a mom now, I think, and she's had several kiddos, and she's like I'm not surprised. Nastasia was like the mom of that. She was a mom. She was very like nurturing. She was very maternal. She always wanted to check on everyone. She loved, I remember Nastasia was like, the one time they let us have TV, I think we went to Palm Springs or something. She loved those televangelist shows with the like preachers that are hellfire and brimstone. Like, she was all about that. She had her Bible with her. She was gonna, I definitely would see Nastasia as more of like the Jesus, like, you know, and then the mom of the house. She was all about some Jesus, and she was definitely the mother instinct about her. She was a really nice girl.
Gotcha. Layla.
Layla was really quiet. Layla was super, super, super quiet. Honestly, I don't think Layla said 2 words during she was so sweet though. I mean, Layla was just there. She had that high fashion look. Obviously, that I feel like Layla's modeling skill and not her like that personality. Because that wasn't really Layla's thing. She was there to model. And Layla was all about business. So I think she's a really nice girl though. And of course, I mean, she's done amazing.
So Destiny actually is watching right now,
Hi.
and she tagged me in something on Instagram. I'm Hey Destiny, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you so much. That was so
I'm
cool.
gonna have to hang out with Destiny. I really like her. She's a really cool girl. It's funny, I actually just thought about her. I've been hearing all this Netflix stuff, and so I reached out to her the other day on Instagram. Like, I don't even know why we weren't following each other before. So what is she saying? I can't. My reception.
Okay, accept. Oh, she said, "Bless you, Victoria."
Aw. Well, bless you, Destiny.
That is so sweet. Okay.
That's sweet.
And Kiara.
Kiara is probably the most, like, as far as on the show, kind of an adversarial sort of like back and forth relationship. There were probably some things I said about Kiara that I regret on the show, because there were, she was, again, like the UCLA, like not football player. She wasn't a football player. She was a basketball player. She was
basketball,
very, like,
yeah.
Basketball. She was very like in your face. Like if there was a fight, Kiara was going to be in it. She was going to be picking. She was going to be starting it. So that was Kiara. I think that Kiara and I, again, I'm trying not to shamelessly plug, but Kiara has been she's been the one I've seen most frequently, and she's got a little girl. She's doing an amazing job with her. Kiara is an awesome woman. She's training models. She's working with a modeling school. She's doing amazing things. We've talked a lot since the show. I have mad respect for Kiara. I really like her now. Back then though, I think I flat out said I don't like Kiara, like on the show. I just looked straight into the camera with like no backpedaling. I was like, I don't like her. I don't like her. And so Kiara, I regret saying that, but I think the reason I said that back then is there were some times that I felt like Kiara would come up to me and be like, well, why are you so dependent on your mom? Like, that's weird. Tell us about that. Why it seemed like very in your face. And I think maybe I might have been a little bit that way to her. So I feel like our dynamic now, of course, it would be and is totally different. But I think Kiara, if I could sum her up in one word, I would say strong. Like, she's a strong woman. She comes on strong. Like, she is strong and she doesn't apologize for it. And hey, I'm about that for sure.
And then last but definitely not least, our winner, Laura.
Laura is, and I get questions about Laura, like, how was Laura? I'm going to say that Laura, the same thing I kind of say when people ask me, how was Tyra? Like, she was kind of, well, I'm not going to compare Laura to Tyra, of course, but did that come off wrong? And she was not like, we weren't like besties in the house. I mean, she was tight with Kristen. She got on well with Kristen, which I think was maybe they related in certain ways. She was never mean. She was never like, Laura was not a bully, but she was also very like, Laura was not gonna ever try to, if you lost your shoes, like there was one point that I flew there, right? And I didn't have my high heels. The airport confiscated my heels. And Laura was kind of like, well, you're out of luck then. And Nastasia comes up with all of her shoes and is like letting me borrow all of her shoes. And Nastasia was like giving everything away. And Laura was like, eh. And there was one time that Nylon magazine, and I was looking at a copy, and Laura walks up and takes it out of my hand, and she was like, that was mine. That's my magazine. So it was kind of like, there were, she didn't make any effort to like be there to be your friend or to be, so I wouldn't say she's not a bully, but she was just very like, just kind of aloof. She was like there in her lane, and especially toward the end, like she was just like, like she was there for her. So, I can respect being there for you, but I feel like it's kind of, teamwork makes the dream work, so if you're there with other people, you need to try to make an effort to at least connect with somebody, and I didn't really pick that up from her.
Damn. Okay. What do you think about comeback addition to this cycle of America's Next Top Model? Because it had never been done before, where a girl could come back into the competition. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, with the comeback port, so much changed that cycle. And like I said, I had not I didn't really know what to expect because I feel like other girls were, top model, like super fans going into it. And I had taken little modeling lessons. My cousin was a Ford model when I was little, and she would sit me down in front of top model. And I was a kid, though. That was like the last, I had not really watched it since then. So I didn't really know what to expect, but I did not expect a comeback portion. So many people didn't expect a comeback portion. So I think a lot of people felt like Leela, and I always wondered, was that the producer's intentions all along? Because Leela was such a strong, she didn't have the strong, conspiracy theory going on here. Was that the whole lot? But I kind of wondered if maybe they had that up their sleeve for Leela to like, okay, well, here's the shocking elimination, because her walk starting out, I mean, obviously now her walk has become strong, but back then she didn't have a strong walk. I mean, even she said that, like, her posing skill was on point, her walk not so much. So maybe, I always kind of felt like maybe that was always the plan, but the comeback portion, a lot of girls were pissed off about that. They didn't want the comeback portion because, of course, that takes away somebody's chance of being there longer. So there was a little bit of a drama surrounding that. But then again, it wouldn't have been top model if there wasn't all the drama. So it was a source of drama for sure. And Oliver, I don't want any more bad like connection things going on here. I don't want to, my phone is on like 10%. And I don't want that to happen. And my extension cord isn't working. So I'm going to I want to make sure we have this plugged in. See, can you plug the extension cord into the bottom one? Or I don't think it's plugged in, but we'll keep talking. I just don't want us to cut out. So
you're fine. Listen, this isn't, you girls be like, this is a show. This is really me just taking a break from life and just chit-chatting with you girls. But I appreciate it. But please know, everything unorthodox, I welcome it with open arms.
Well, if you're all about I am too. I am anything unorthodox or out there. So I'm glad. Thank you for your patience. And you can see my dad's certificate of veterinary medicine in the background because I'm at the vet clinic. So this is the only place I could get any reception. A cat is running by in the background. You can't see him, but there he is. So we'll see if we can. Okay, I think it's plugged in. Success. We're good.
Yay, plug it in.
Okay.
Plug it in. Okay. Was Laura your winner?
Was Laura my winner?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, of course, I guess I'm gonna be a narcissist here and say I was my winner. I was rooting for me, right? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You can root for yourself and not. I mean, obviously, to be honest, guys, I was not expecting to go as far as I did. I wasn't even expecting to get picked for the show when I auditioned, and I think like that was part of the whole crazy thing is like I sort of had the imposter syndrome of like, why am I here? Like, why am I even at this? So I better act even crazier so I can stay on the show. That was kind of my thing. So of course, everybody wanted to win. I think that maybe Laura, if the challenges were any like the scores and consistency and all of that, I did expect Laura to win because she was first call out so many times. So I think that was like, if that was any indication, I expected her to win. As far as like who I would have rooted for to win, if it were somebody other than me, it wouldn't have really been my first choice based off of just connecting with the person because I didn't connect that strongly with Laura. I mean, I'm sure if you interviewed her, she would probably say the same thing. I don't know who she connected most with, but yeah, I mean, I think we expected it. We expected her to win. Probably, yeah.
You are funny. Okay, you feel like because Laura came from she came from parents who were celebrities and all that other stuff. Do you think that factor why she won?
That could have been part of why she won. I mean, it does give somebody an advantage. Think about it. If you come from a musical family, and then you're trying to be a singer, well, it's going to probably be easier for you because you have those connections. If you're going to, if that's your environment. So I know her mom did Miss Universe or something, or was on a soap opera. That might have given her an advantage being around that. And it seemed like she was all about that. Like she was all about being focused on, she was there to win, which again, we were, and I respect that and I can get that, but I think that might have given her some of an advantage. And I think some of us who had not really, like I had done some modeling here and there, but I was from a small town and like some of the other girls in the house maybe didn't have that advantage. So you do have to work a little harder for it that way.
Fair. Were there things that happened during filming that were not shown on the show that you'd like to tell us about?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. There were so many things I think that happened behind the scenes. Let me try to think of some of those. Okay, well this is one that this is kind of gross, but the the camera people were on, and Destiny, I'm sure you can, if you're still watching, you can attest to this probably. I don't know if you remember this, but the cameras were on you all the time. All the time. It was very like Truman Show. If you guys ever saw that with Jim Carrey, like cameras everywhere. There were little motion as soon as your feet hit the floor. They actually had these motion censored cameras, and they go, "Mwah, mwah, mwah," and the camera people would run in, and they would be like put on. There was one time I went in the bathroom and I was like looking in the mirror, like talking, having a pep talk with myself, and I didn't have a mic on, and so the camera people like ran in because they had the little motion detectors, and they put this corset on you that was super uncomfortable, and they would like corset you up and put the mics on you and all this equipment. So I was in the pool in the shower all the time, you guys, because I did not want to have to wear those corsets. They actually like put me on pool restriction because I spent so much time in the pool to get away from those microphones. But I remember the camera people would come in, and you'd be like sitting at the counter eating your cheese toast, right? Or whatever. And they would be on you the whole time. And I remember I was like getting really self-conscious of the way I chewed. And I'm like, nobody's going to air this because nobody wants to see me like sitting here at the counter. But the camera people sometimes they couldn't talk to you, and you couldn't talk to the camera people because that was like off limits. You signed that in your contract. But the camera people would like have gas sometimes, and it was really bad. And they would just stay in the room and sit there with you, and you had to like be around it, and it was very unpleasant. So yeah, of course that's something that you're not going to hear about on the show, but that was one thing behind the scenes, and it happened like all the time. So that was very uncomfortable. Yeah. And it was awkward too, because you're not gonna like bring it up, but you're just like looking at them, and they're looking back at you, and like they know they did it, and you know they did it, and you're just sitting there. So that was, it's not some earth-shattering revelation, but it happened a lot. So that's one part of it I don't miss. Elimination panel was cold. Like if you noticed us being blue, I think there was a whole thing where my toes hung over my shoes, and they like made fun of it, but my toes, if you look at them, were blue. That was the coldest. It was colder than the Arctic winter in the eliminations. It was so cold. Oh my gosh, we were always freezing. They always had Cheetos on the craft table, and I didn't eat Cheetos. And yeah, some people I think would just get in the weirdest little confrontations that never were. Some of the conversations were weird behind the scenes, and they never aired them, which I was kind of surprised about. But those were just a few things, like little things behind the scenes that went on. But it was very interesting.
What were some of the conversations that wish that we could have seen?
I think just more backgrounds. I think in like what the girls thought about, like I don't know. Gosh, I was trying to think about some of the things people talked about. I mainly, maybe it was just like bad knock jokes, backstory kind of things. I remember one of the girls I think was into I think Laura was actually really into supernatural stuff. Like she was really big into, I think, reincarnation, and like had all these theories about like souls and spirits, and like it was very like far out hippie. I mean, I've been on ghost hunts myself, but it was just very different stuff, and I'm surprised they didn't air a lot of that. I was big into the women's empowerment, like Simone de Beauvoir stuff, and talked about it all the time. They didn't air the first thing about that. It was all about the mama thing on there. So it was like a lot of, I think it was more of just other sides of the girls' personalities that they didn't show. Some of the girls actually talked a lot, like Alyssa had so many stories of just like wild, like, sorority girl stuff that she talked about, and they didn't really give her a whole lot of screen time. So I was kind of, when you watch the show, like when I watched, and I didn't even watch my whole season, I watched like maybe 3 episodes, so I didn't even see the whole season. But yeah, when you watch it, you're like getting a whole different experience of what you went through, because it is like so condensed. You're just seeing kind of a little tiny portion of what went down.
What were your thoughts on the introduction of the social media aspect into your score that determined whether or not you went home or not?
There was so much changing that season, and I feel like the social media score was, I think a lot of people felt like that was maybe kind of unfair, because not that personality should play into it, but also when you think about working in the real world of modeling, nobody wants to work with a model that's going to be super problematic on set, that's going to be complaining about hair and makeup or wardrobe. And there were some of those girls during the season that were doing that, and some that were maybe harder to work with. So I feel like some people were voting something based solely off the look they were seeing. Well, I like this girl's look, and I'm going to vote on that. And not so much that they maybe you had somebody jumping on that really didn't know that much. Everybody's got a voice, everybody's got an opinion, but it almost seemed like every comment, every opinion was like the most valid thing. And, you know, the judges were airing people's videos like, oh, well, this person said that, so it must be true. And it seemed a little bit, it was a little much for me. I really didn't like, what I love about social media is like you can meet new friends, like you getting to meet you and hang out with all you guys, and that's awesome. But I also feel like every opinion is like the thing when you're on social media, and I feel like it was a little unfair, those scores being factored in, for sure.
Gotcha. How do you feel about the weird and extreme challenges and photo shoots? What is your favorite photo shoot, and what is your least favorite photo shoot?
Okay, yeah. So I could have taken like some weirder challenges. I was kind of hoping that things would be a little bit weirder. I was like wanting some really weird stuff. And some of them seemed a little bit tame my season to me. Like they seemed a little low key. So I would have liked some even more like exotic animals, right? Or like maybe being suspended. I've always wanted to do like the bungee thing where they suspend you and like drop you and you get your picture in midair. Like that would have been really cool. More underwater stuff. I would have been all about that, like all about it. I know maybe some people might freak out with that, but I could have definitely had more of that. I liked some of the challenges we did. My favorite photo shoot was probably favorite challenge was Tyler Perry, for sure. I love that. Huge Tyler Perry, because I'm a goofball. Like I love pretending. I love like all of that. So, and I love Tyler Perry. So I was really excited. Oh, no. Or was it Alicia Keys? I love that challenge. I'm going to say Alicia Keys first, then Tyler Perry, because Alicia Keys was everything and more you could ever hope for. Like she was the nicest person, and I love that show. Mara Hoffman was amazing. Obsessed with her. The favorite photo shoot, of course, was my first call out, the one that you used for the flyer for this, Rob Evans. I love black and white. I love that my hair, I was always straightening my hair, and Tyra was actually one of the reasons I started to embrace my natural curls, because she was like, your hair straightened, it's not working, like just let it go natural. So I'm Native American, I'm Jewish, I have the huge hair, and so I loved that the photo, I had barely any makeup on. It was so natural. It was so, and that's like me, I like earthy, I like natural, I don't like all that, I like more stripped down. So that was definitely my favorite one. Least favorite photo shoot, I mean, of course, the one that I got eliminated for, Jamaica. I just like at that point, I think I was so, you could kind of see it when you watch me in the show. I had been so kind of beaten down. I wasn't even talking to anybody. I was just like, ugh. I was just kind of there, and I was just standing there. And it wasn't like, you know, I didn't, Rob had criticized me for doing backstories. And then I think one thing they said during elimination was, you didn't give us anything, not even a backstory. And I'm like, well, you just said you hated my backstories. So I think that was one that maybe wasn't my favorite. I probably now it would have been different because Jamaica's beautiful, and I just like, I was so stressed I didn't even enjoy it. Least favorite challenge, I think, was the one where we were jumping over boxes of stuff. I think it was when Chrissy Teigen was at. I was just lost the whole time, and I was just like in slow motion moving around. I had no clue what was going on. It was just sad. I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah. So probably favorite and least favorite. That's what those would have been.
Gotcha. Thank you for that. So Matthias 2 wants to know, we know that Cycle 19 eliminated girls still did all of the shoots, but it seemed after Victoria's elimination, after the waterfall shoot, her remaining shots seemed to be superimposed to the background of the other girls. And she wasn't in the comeback series when Kristen was eliminated. Was it true? Is it true that she left Jamaica at this point and did the shoots from back home?
So yes, that is, that's a really good question. I haven't thought about that in ages. So the difference between this cycle and previous cycles, to my knowledge, previous cycles, the girls had when they got eliminated, they left. So that was the end of the road. With this one, of course, for the comeback portion, models were, kept in a holding, I think, a hotel. And Destiny can probably tell you more about this and what that experience was, because I know that she was one of the girls that I think they maybe kept in a hotel or something. And that was one of the reasons. I know this doesn't seem like earth shattering, but they told us, the producers told us at the beginning, guys, if you're eliminated, we're going to keep you in a hotel room, and we're going to keep you there the whole time for the 3-month period that this is. Well, I was constantly freaking out the whole time because I need like wide open sky. I did not want to sit my butt in a hotel room for 3 months because it was and of course back then everything stressed me out, 20 times more than it does now. So that was a huge source of stress. And I told the producers, I pulled them aside, of course, because I just had to be I had to bring the drama. But I told them, if I get eliminated, I was like, I'm going back. I'm going back home. And if you can't make me that promise, I made them put it in writing, you guys. I made them like write something. They were like, I can't believe you're making us do this. I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm going to walk. If you don't promise me that I can leave when you eliminate me, and you've got to put it in writing right now that you're going to do that, because I'm not staying in a hotel the whole time. And I know, like, to some people that may seem crazy, right? I mean, that may seem to some people. They were kind of, well, they told me, and they were like, you have my word. I was like, your word's not good enough. I need it in writing. So they wrote it down, and they said, yes, if we eliminate you, whenever you can go home. You don't have to stay. Because I didn't want to stay. I wanted to go back. I didn't want to be in a hotel room. And the process leading up to getting cast on the show was very like, you were in a hotel room, there were guards outside your door, you couldn't get out. And I just like, now I could probably handle it more. Back then I was so anxious, so like crazy anxious about, and that was, I think a lot of it is just like extreme anxiety that I had, and I didn't even realize it. But yeah, I told them there is no way in hell that I'm staying in a hotel. So when they eliminated me, they tried. We were in Jamaica, and they said, hey Victoria, are you okay with like staying in the hotel and just sticking this out? We've only got a little more to go. I was like, nope, you put it in writing, I'm going. So what they did is they took me, and we were in Jamaica, and they took me out in the water, took my picture, superimposed stuff in the background. They took my picture out in front of this building for the 9 West shoot. And so I actually didn't do the shoots from home. I did them all in Jamaica, but I did them all within like a few hours time period. Like they brought in a little seafood meal and just had my outfits and put me in them and did that. And we just made a day out of it. And then they sent me on the plane back home. So that's how that worked. And it was very unusual because I think most of the girls, if not all of them, did stay behind, but I was the only one who left.
I don't know what to say, but wow.
Yeah, it's different. It's very different. But now, I mean, most people probably are thinking, well, why wouldn't you want to be? I mean, you're in Jamaica, you're at this resort, but that was my thing. That was my prerogative back then. And I basically told them, I made an ultimatum. I was like, this is what's going to happen, and you guys can go ahead and send me home now if you're not going to make me that promise that I can go home if I'm eliminated. And I think the sad part was like, I was expecting to be eliminated all the time. Like I wouldn't even unpack my suitcase. Everybody else had their little things and had their, I kept my suitcase packed because I was like, yep, next elimination is going to be it. I'm going home. And like, it's sad. I wish looking back, I had more, even though I talked a big game sometimes and having a lot of confidence, I really didn't. And I think that's sad. And I think it comes with experience, but I expected to be eliminated constantly. And so my suitcase was a disaster. I would like go and like rummage through my little suitcase and get my underwear and socks out and just kept it packed the whole time. But that was me. I was always prepared.
Nice. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so Samir Salah wants to know, when in the Tower Suite did you keep clothes and makeup, or was it for that week? A lot of questions about that.
About the Tyra Suite. Yeah, I was super excited about the Tyra Suite. I got picked, I got first call out for the Rob Evans photo, the black and white one. And they said, you can, go in the Tyra Suite. You can have your time, and you can pick out one outfit of choice. You can pick out one pair of shoes. You could pick out one look, accessories. You could pick out shoes, all kind of stuff. And then Smashbox, I think, was our sponsor. So I got to pick out some makeup. My heels, I love them. I'm still obsessed with. I wore them until they literally fell apart. I was walking in a show, and like part of the heel fell. I love them that much. That's what I do. I get one thing and I get attached to it. It falls apart. So 9 West is like my go-to high heel brand. I love the shoes I got from them. But what's funny is I don't know how. Okay, but they would have laundry day, and I was so afraid for anybody to like get my clothing for laundry day. The PAs, the assistants would pick up all of our clothes, but you had to pay to get your laundry done. Like they didn't do it for free. So they would like take money to do your laundry. And Leela had given one of her outfits to get washed. Well, they washed it and put it in the Tyra Suite. And so one of Leela's outfits was hanging up, and hers was the outfit I picked. And then Leela or somebody came up and they're like, you can't have that. That's mine, or that's Leela's. And I'm like, well, why is it in the Tyra suite? So some girls' outfits ended up in the Tyra suite. They didn't air that. It was so weird. I was like picking other girls' outfits and they're like, oh, wait, confusion. So anyway, I finally picked this really cute little dress with a belt. It had like tropical stuff on. I still have the dress. I should probably frame it or something. I don't wear it anymore, but it's like very special to me. I've got the little belt. I've got the accessories. The makeup, I don't think I used it. I like kept it as a little, because it's special. Like you get to stay in the Tyra suite. So I'm going to make a little glass case one of these days for all of that. Very, very fun times.
Take a picture so I can see it.
Yes, I will. I'll tag you.
Thank you. Andy wants to know, Victoria, do you think the girls claimed you had an eating disorder as an excuse to have you sent home and have less competition?
That is, yeah, that's a loaded question for sure. And I think that part of I will say right now, I was not healthy on the show. You can look at me and tell. I mean, 5'10". Models. A lot of models are thin. I was too thin. My BMI was too low. I was too thin. I was extremely stressed. I think some people are stress eaters. I am not one of those people. If I'm really stressed, like I'm just not gonna. And we didn't have consistent meal times. There were times that I would have my food and they'd pull me for an interview when the food was sitting right there, and then I'd come back and my food would be gone, or the chicken situation, or it seemed like it was always something. So I wasn't like I wasn't given balanced. I mean, I feel like they could have done a better job maybe giving balanced meals. I'm not blaming this on production. It's not like they didn't feed us. They did. But I think it's just like for each person's dietary needs, maybe it wasn't provided as well as it could have been. Not to say we didn't get some food that was really good, but it seemed like there was always some situation, and the meal times were super inconsistent. I will say that I am really thankful to be healthy now. And I was very disappointed by the way the eating thing was handled by the other girls. I think we were for people out there that are legitimately suffering from like, anorexia nervosa, or really like serious true blue eating disorders that, require treatment, for them to see something like that, it could be a huge trigger. All the girls kind of standing there like, Victoria's got an eating disorder, like in front of a judges panel. I think the whole thing was handled and even by editors of the show. I feel like it's a very sensitive situation that maybe needed to be handled more delicately, because a lot of people struggle with that, and it is something that's serious. So I apologize to anybody maybe that watched it and it did trigger them, or it made them uncomfortable, because it made me uncomfortable, looking back and watching clips of it. I didn't even watch my season, honestly, but yeah, like I think it could have been handled much better. I don't think they were doing that maybe to have less competition, but it did feel like I was getting thrown under the bus by a lot of them, not all of them, but by a lot of them. And I think that the way they handled it just could have been a lot better.
I agree. And my last question before I turn it over to the fans watching live, do you believe that Laura was a pre-selected winner? Like they always knew that they wanted her to win?
I will say that when Laura walked at, how always you can kind of, there's the teacher's pet in school, and even if they don't ace the test, it's kind of like you know that they're going to probably get more leeway than the person that's not. So even though Laura she didn't, she had a great look, she didn't have a whole lot of like her walk was very standard. So I mean, she was a strong competitor. So I'm not gonna, because nobody really knows about any kind of competition could be rigged, right? I mean, there's always that kind of, I mean, you can look at anything from, whatever, there's always that chance that something could be rigged. I do think that she was kind of sometimes an unfair favorite. Like there were times that maybe she was given an unfair advantage, just the placement that she was given in photo shoots. If we were out in extreme heat, she would be like the first to go, so she could go and get back in the nice cool area while everybody else was like, dying in sweltering heat. There were just things of like placement, go-see challenges. She was like the first that would be able to go into some of those. So there were times that it almost seemed like an unfair advantage. I'm not going to go as far to say that the competition wasn't legitimate, because I have no way to prove that, but I do know that when she first walked out, Kelly Catrone, I mean, I saw Kelly was like, ooh, I'm gonna have my eye on her. Like I heard Kelly, saying that. So it could have just been that she was somebody that they really liked. It could have been something else, who knows about that? I guess that's part of the fun of reality TV. You can all like I love conspiracy theories. Like that's me. I'm always, so it's fun to play with those, right? So who knows what it could have been.
Victoria, I have no more questions. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to the fans. And fans, how you participate in the Q&A. If we were on Instagram Live, I would say you guys need to get a badge. I can see your question. But since we are on YouTube Live, I'm asking that you do Super Chat. Because when you do Super Chat, it goes into like this thing where I can see all the questions and I'm not funneling and fumbling and all that other stuff. So I'm actually going to run to the bathroom right fast, if that's okay. And then when I come back, we're going to get into some Super Chat. But listen, and the questions. But Victoria, while I'm going, I feel like you should sing a song while I'm gone.
Sing a song.
You
just had to throw that in there. Oh my goodness, you had to throw that in there. I can recite a Shakespearean monologue. Oh my goodness. I do not have a song prepared, honestly. I did do a cover of well, I did an Italian aria when I used to do pageants. Vittoria mio core. I had to put Victoria in there, but that's called Victorious My Heart Is. I know a little bit of Italian. I'm just not going to sit here and sing it right now because I am not, like, I just put on a show, you guys, and I was screaming over people. We had a bunch of models and a bunch of people there, and my voice is probably still scratchy. So I'm not gonna bless your ears with that right now. But I think when I was a teen, I uploaded some of my theater stuff, and maybe like a Amy Winehouse. I was obsessed with Amy Winehouse, and I did a cover of Rehab. That was quick, Oliver. You're a ninja. You went to the bathroom that fast? My goodness.
And I washed my hands.
You washed your, that was like 5 seconds. Oh my goodness. Teach me your ways. Oh, I'm one of those that goes off and I get distracted. Like I'm looking at pictures on the wall in the restaurant. I take a phone call. I redo my hair. And then, everybody's like, did you go to the carnival or something? Like, where were you? So I need to be quicker.
I'm going to sing Rehab.
No, not right now. I'm not going to see. I needed to prepare that. I have a thing on YouTube though that I was like 16. I think I did a cover of Rehab on YouTube. I was obsessed. I still am. I mean, who doesn't love Amy Winehouse? She's amazing. But I did some stuff of her. But no, not right now. Victoria, would you do an All-Stars season? Oh wait, I'm seeing stuff popping up. Am I supposed to see this?
Yes, I'm putting that on for you.
Okay, thank you, Oliver. Hi, Pollyanna, right? Nice to meet you. Yes, so All Stars. You know what? I've been back and forth about that idea. I used to say, yeah, I would do an All Stars if I was asked because I want to prove to everyone that I've changed. Like I want to prove to the other girl. I want to prove. And now I feel like I've gotten to a point that I don't feel, and maybe that's just maybe emotionally maturing a little bit. I don't really feel like I need to prove anything. I feel like I've proven to myself that, and that's all that. Yeah, I've kind of so I don't feel like I'd go on to prove a point. I would like to go just for the experience, solely for the experience of going on. The first time I was so stressed out and I took everything so seriously and I was not like zero chill the whole time, and I think everybody could see that. So I feel like I would enjoy the process a little more. Absolutely. If I were asked, I would do an All Stars. I absolutely would. And I think it would be a different experience this time around. Yeah, I hope. I'm honestly like doubtful. They've talked about it so much. I don't know if it would happen, and who knows if they'd ask me even if it did happen. But I would definitely go.
So I've heard through the grapevine that there is supposed to be one final cycle of 25, and of course the fans DM me everything, and they've been DMing me things like cycle 25 is being filmed right now. I don't think it's being filmed right now, but I do believe that at some point there will be a final cycle of America's Next Top Model, and they will close it out at 25. That I do believe.
You know what? Yeah, I would definitely. I've heard Tyra kind of allude to that they felt like they ended it maybe before its prime, and I know there were several reasons. I think maybe the ratings weren't going exactly like they thought, and I think that like they hoped, and that's a big thing with reality shows. But I think that maybe if they focused a little bit more and got back to the root of it, like focused a little more on the modeling and not so much of showing one note of contestants' personality and one, people, the fans want to, you don't underestimate the fans. Like they're smart people. Like they want to, they come for the, They are smart. They are smart. Exactly. And don't like, I think sometimes maybe the mistake reality producers, they kind of infantilize people or they underestimate their intelligence by saying, well, they want to see a bunch of screaming and they want to see a bunch of this and that. And you can have elements of that, but I think the fans wanted to see more like in-depth challenges, in-depth, more modeling. And I think like if you give the fans what they want, I think you could bring Top Model back. Why end at 25? Keep it going. Like just add new stuff in. I really do. Add more diversity, more variety, more, and I would be all about that for sure. I hope, I really, really hope. I think it ended too soon.
And I will be there watching.
You could be on it, Oliver.
That's what everyone keeps saying. They're like, Oliver, you could be on Top Model. I mean,
yes.
It calls me, and if the check is right, I'm there.
There you go. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. I think you could do great. Let's see. On the show, they always made it seem like your backstories took a long time to explain. Did it really take a long time, or was that editing? Hey, Randy, thank you so much for your question. Yeah, Randy just asked if it was editing or if so there's always like one of my friends called it clown music. Like you would hear me explaining like, well, there's a whole, and they'd be like, don't you, like playing this stupid. I hated that music. They would play that clown music like every time you would see me, especially explaining the backstories. I honestly, I would love to blame it on editing, but I honestly feel like that was a very condensed version of my backstory. They went on forever. Like the cameras, I honestly took it that the camera people would just stand there and they never stopped me, and I would just keep talking. So I took their silence as like consent to just keep going. So I would go and go and go and go and go and go. I can talk, if you guys haven't noticed. Like I am a talker, so I'm a talker. So yeah, my backstories were quite epic for sure.
Edward Barino is saying, hi, Victoria. What is the best thing you got from the experience?
Edward, hi. Thank you for your question. Honestly, I feel like I wish that I had allowed myself to enjoy this experience a lot more. I didn't allow myself to enjoy it. I was too stressed. It's all about your attitude, right? What do they say? Your attitude determines your altitude. If to sound like a fortune cookie here, but it's true. It's really true. And I didn't have the attitude of, wow, all these thousands of girls auditioned for this, and here I am picked to be on the show. What an honor. Instead, I was panicking the whole time. So the moral of the story here is like, don't enjoy the experience. Don't let your negativity or panic overcome you. That's what I did on the show. I let it just totally dominate the experience. So honestly, I feel like the best thing that I took away from it is that life lesson. Don't let your panic, don't let your worries, don't let your negativity. And I think a lot of us wrestle with that. I mean, this year, of course, has been trying for a lot of people, but you can't get locked into that negativity and let it overcome you. So that was my biggest takeaway. And being able to use the Top Model name and to kind of get that Tyra Banks seal of approval, it does help you. It kind of pushes you to the front of the line on things, especially in media and hosting and that kind of thing. So I've been super grateful for that.
Yes. So Maya called.
Maya.
Wants to know, what was it like when you deleted Kiara's video during the challenge and she got mad?
Oh my goodness, Kiara was mad. She was so mad. Yeah. You know what? That whole thing was a hot mess. It was a hot mess. I spilled my makeup bag like 10 times. We went to this restaurant and sour cream got everywhere, and everything that everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. There was a button, and so I am, like you guys probably noticed, it was bad reception. I'm going to blame it on that, but I was like an hour late joining this video chat. So I have always been kind of you see firsthand, I'm a little bit tech like challenged. So don't give me something that you don't want to get deleted, or if you don't want your screen broken, or I'm gonna like, I mean very well, but it'll be a disaster probably if it has anything to do with tech. But they gave me, for some reason, Kiara, we made this video, she gave it to me, and I'm like, oops, okay, save, and I pushed a button, and then the whole thing, it was like, you deleted one video. And a lot of people, and I think they edited it almost, and Kiara was almost accusing me a little bit of maliciously deleting the video. Maybe I feel like it's kind of what I picked up on. Like I was deleting it because I felt like that would give me an edge. And I'm like, I'm on your team. Like we're on the same team here. If I delete this video, do you honestly think I would think that would be good for us? Because this is going to affect our team score. So I think a few people online were like, oh, she did that on purpose. I'm telling you right now, I did not do it on purpose. It was totally just me fumbling around, my big long skinny fingers like, oh, what's that? Delete it. So yeah, that's what happened. That's what went down. So moral of the story is, don't ever give me your phone or your camera or something if you don't want something to get messed up or deleted, because I will probably mess it up.
Girl ahead wants to know, Victoria, I love stories. I love your beautiful relationship with your mom. Do you write your own stories or do anything else creative?
That's a good question. Hi, thank you for joining us. Yes, I do. So I would love to actually do more. Is anything creative? I'm all about that. I'm all about creative stuff. I used to make. I don't know if you can see it. I used to make jewelry. I didn't make these, but my Starry Night earrings. They've got Vincent. Wait. Oh, there they are. My little Starry Nights right there. I didn't paint them. My cousin Grace did. They're my new faves. But I love watercolor painting. I love like anything creative. I used to make a lot of jewelry. I hosted with Jewelry Television, so I was like big into the process of like selecting jewelry that went out to fashion. Anything creative, I'm all about it. I do a lot of like blog content writing, a lot of content creation. I feel like that's not as quirky maybe as kind of some of the stuff that I did on the show, but I did write. People have been kind of encouraging me to write a book for a while, and I did write a manuscript, and I've submitted it to some publishers. So I've written that book. We will see how all of that goes. But as far as like things that have actually been published so far, a lot of magazine work, a lot of newspaper work, a lot of blogs. But my favorite thing, I love me a good backstory. Like I am all about that. And the weirder and more creative and outlandish, the better.
Yes. So CKG wants to know, what's the modeling industry like with COVID? I follow you on Instagram and it looks like you are still working. Also, I love you both. Thank you for doing this. Thank you. Love you too.
We love you too. Thank you. Yeah, no, I so appreciate you guys like hanging out with us, and even me with all my issues and running late and all of that. So I so do appreciate you all hanging out with us. With COVID, yeah. So this has been this is the least flying that I have probably ever done in a year. It's been crazy. I was lucky to my last like official fashion week was New York Fashion Week in February. I spent 10 days there and did like I probably did 80 or so bookings. Something told me I didn't take time to sit down. I didn't take time to breathe. I brought 50 of my own models. We did it big because something told, how you get those hunches. I'm sure you get those too, Oliver. Like you get that like feeling, that spidey sense something's going to happen. I don't know. Something was telling me like, do New York big, just do it big, because it just had it in my gut to do that. So we stayed there a really long time. We did a lot. We left, and then I did another show in Florida, and like right after that, I started hearing of this. I don't get television. I don't really watch television. I just keep up with the news through the internet. So I heard about this new COVID thing, and I was like, well, "What's this?" So I was keeping up with it, and then of course after that, it just got out of control. I feel like the modeling industry, I have been able, and I know this has been the word of the season, but pivot. I've been able to pivot things a little bit myself with like I work with a lot of designers. We have a studio we work out of. They will do their ad campaigns, and I'll actually have my team, they'll ship stuff, we'll shoot it remotely, and then send the stuff back to them, and then get the catalog content out to them. The company I work with, Jewelry Television, has been amazing. LA Fashion Week is not, who knows if they're going to bring it back. LA is a total mess right now, but instead of LA, they let me do a show in Atlanta, which is actually going pretty well. Are you in Atlanta?
I am in Atlanta.
You are. We're gonna have to hang out. I'm a Georgia girl. We've got a place in Callaway Gardens, so we're not far from there. But yeah, it's and I've been able to kind of do like shows in areas, like we did one near Biloxi where all the casinos are. So just like really fun, people gathering together, spacing everybody out enough, doing the mask, doing the hand sanitizer as best as we can. So yes, it's changed, but it's also it's taught me something of like the philosopher, who is it? Seneca. Somebody said, "Be like water." You've got to like be like water. water, go with the flow. Things are going to happen. You can either like stop and cry into your soup, or you can just find a way around it. So I think we're all just doing the best we can. And I've done the best I know to pivot things.
And that's all you can do.
It's true. It's true.
I'm sorry, these lights are so bright. Nakia Boo, I love that. Nakia Boo. Did you talk to any of the girls after the show?
Do I talk to the girls after the show? Well, of course, recently, and I would love to say like, oh yeah, we just, we hang out all the time. I think a lot of the girls do. It's kind of the nature of it. You lose touch. There's a few of the producers that I keep in contact with. And, we're friends on Facebook. We talk a little bit. Actually, ironically, I've become friends with people from other cycles and have worked with people from other cycles, probably more. I don't think I collaborated with one person from my cycle, but I've collaborated with other people from other cycles. And it's been really cool, like meeting them and hearing about their experience. And they've been just super awesome to be able to meet people from other seasons. But I would say Kiara, I see Kiara so much. Like especially when they're in the middle of shows. If they do London, I think we'll both be in London. We do if they do it. I mean, I don't know. I don't feel very I don't feel very confident they're going to, but yeah, Kiara's got a little girl, and she's collaborated on a line of clothing, and she's just doing awesome with that. So I would say I've probably been around her most, but Destiny, we're like keeping in touch on Instagram, and like I said, she's just a sweetheart. She's the sweetest soul. But some people from other cycles, oh gosh, I feel terrible right now. Courtney Dupero, I did a shoot with her. Courtney is really fun. She's just like a very down-to-earth girl. Adam Smith, I don't know if you guys remember him a few cycles ago. We have collaborated numerous times and a lot of people are like, that's super unlikely, but we're both from Atlanta, and we were like, hey, why not get in the studio and do some stuff? Laura Kirkpatrick, the original all-star, she's an awesome girl, and we've walked in a lot of shows together. Love me some Laura. Yeah, and India Gantz, we've walked in some shows together, so it's really cool getting to meet everybody from all these seasons. But my season, haven't really worked with them that much.
That is funny. Randy Milan, my baby Randy Milan. I personally love Kelly Catrone. Have you seen her since the show?
Yes, Randy, I don't, a lot of people, it's funny that you say, I love Kelly Catrone, because I got the opposite sentiment from a lot of people like, oh my gosh, she's so mean. That was not like I said earlier, that wasn't my experience with her. I think that she really gave some solid advice, like behind the scenes, some really good constructive stuff. She was one that I feel like you can always tell a lot about personalities when the camera's not rolling. Like, how do they act? Some people are just all out there when the cameras are out. And then, well, Alicia Keys was one of those when the cameras weren't rolling. She actually was more just out there than when they were. So I think you can always tell about if somebody is the real deal. I think Kelly was the real deal. She would sit down and give us advice when the cameras weren't out. She was very I have not seen her since the show. I've seen some of her team members. I think People's Revolution, she's still doing that. I read some of the books and articles they've done. So, but I haven't been able to really see her. I did meet Miss J though. I met Miss J and I got a selfie with her.
Oh,
so
nice.
yes, she was awesome. I love Miss J.
Okay, I'm just going back and reading some of the earlier questions I got before we got into, so I'm just making sure I don't miss anything. Okay, Bailey, I love you, Bailey. Black Beauty, love you too, baby. Jay's Tastements, that's cute. Pollyanna Nielsen, I think you answered this already, but just answer for me again. Would you do an All-Stars?
Would I do All-Stars? Yes, I would. I would do All-Stars. I've always, and again, I've always felt like I would do an All-Stars if I got asked, of course. But, it's one of those things that I think the reason I would do All-Stars has changed. I really just want to go back and have a redo of the experience where I actually am present, like mentally and physically, present and always enjoying the experience, realizing I would love a do-over, not so much to prove to everybody else, like, oh, I'm not that crazy person, because I mean, we're all a little crazy, right? There's nothing like Alice in Wonderland. We're all mad here. So what I think I'm not so much wanting to prove anything to anyone, just proving to myself that, okay, I can come and I can actually be present for this experience. So if they do cycle 25 and they're not already filming it, I know there's theories about that. I would love to join for sure.
You know, okay, so the girls have been saying, Oliver, you should be on cycle 25. I definitely would not be a contestant because I don't think that's fair. Because I definitely will walk in with the things that would demolish any girl or guy, man, woman, child, grandparent, cloud, popcorn kernel that's sitting away. But I would love to be like
popcorn kernel.
I would love to be like what Brian Lloyd was, like the social media guy.
A guru, yeah, exactly.
Who was kind of like the liaison between you girls and social media. And I say this joke all the time, but I could be like you guys' on-camera house brother. I could be like the guy who reads the Tyra mail, who's going with you girls to photo shoots, who's helping you girls wake up and get ready. Like, I think that'd be a nice comedic addition.
It would be. I could totally.
Girls!
Let's put it out in the universe. I mean, you heard it here. Exactly. Somebody make this happen. I would love that. I love that idea. I could see it right now. I love that.
Tyra, don't hate me too much, girl. Let's get this check. Okay, listen.
Yes.
Derek Martin wants to know, Victoria, who's your favorite Amtm winner, and what's your favorite? What's your first top model memory?
My first top model memory. Oh my gosh. What's funny is the first person that popped into, because she's, such an iconic person from Top Model, but I don't think she won. I was thinking Allison, but Allison didn't win. Allison didn't win.
Twice.
She lost twice. Yeah. What's up with that? The big eyes, Allison. I think she's so unique and so odd and very, very unusual. So she's almost like this anime kind of like live cartoon, that's her appeal. And I think that was, so in my mind she had won, but no, she didn't. So, yeah, I was actually going to say Allison. Oh my gosh. I'm being a very bad Top Model alum right now. I'm going to get back to my favorite winner. I would say my first memory of Top Model is actually my cousin Lindsay. When I was growing up, she was a model with Ford Agency, and I actually saw her on my television when I was little, and I was like, "Oh, who's this girl?" And it turns out she was my cousin. She was giving modeling lessons, like the basics of how to walk, how to pose, how to build your portfolio. And my amazing mom, of course, who you guys probably all feel like took me 2 hours, I think, each way, twice a week to these model classes with my cousin. And my cousin would sit me in front of America's Next Top Model, and I would watch the show with her. And she had auditioned for the show, and it was like her dream to get on, and she couldn't get on. And she was like, "That's going to be you one day. Like, that's going to be you. You're going to be on there." And she would like encourage me. And I was just this little thing sitting there, and I was like, no, I was like, that looks scary. Those are crazy people on that show. I'm not going to be, well, little did I know, of course, I auditioned and I got on and I fit right in. But yeah, no, that was always the thing. Every like model, coach, or when I went and took lessons, and there was another girl that kind of helped me with photo shoots. It was the same thing. Like, Top Model's competitive. There's so many factors that go into getting on. There was another person that she had auditioned. She wanted to get on, a friend of the family's, and she was like, "You're going to get on the show." And so those are my top memories, is just like being forced in front of the TV by them and watching the show. And of course, a guilty pleasure. I loved it too. But watching those as a kid, I would say Jade, and favorite winner. Jade was a winner, right? Gonzalez? No, I can't. Your laughter. I'm taking your laughter. He's giving me the Oliver.
Oh, Jasleen Gonzalez.
I'm so sorry. You guys, I am running around like I'm barefoot half the time, not watching television, like salt of the earth. I don't know. I'm a bad Top Model alum. I should be more of like a super, I feel like I should be more of a super fan. Like, I'm a fan of the show. I love it. But yeah, I was going to say edit that out, but we're live. So never mind. Never mind.
Are you talking about Jasleen?
Jasleen. Yep. I'm all about Jasleen, and I got her name wrong. I'm sorry. Oh man, but yeah. I know that I do. Oliver's just shaking his head. Oh, this is terrible. I'm gonna hear about this.
No, that's funny.
I'm gonna hear about this. I know that she was kind of polarizing, but I will say that like Adrienne Curry has done a lot. She was the first ever winner, and she did the thing with it. And I love, like, I'm a Brady Bunch geek, and she was married to Peter Brady, so hello, like that's I love the Brady Bunch, and I think that she's
Was it Peter?
It was Peter, right? Christopher Knight. I think so. Google.
You knew, girl.
I did. See, I knew something. I got something right. For once, top model related. But yeah, I do like Adrienne. She's done some like just a little bit of everything. She's done and now it's all coming to me. I think Ann Ward, right? You interviewed Ann?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Ann from Cycle 3.
Oh, Anne from 3. Okay, yeah, Ann Ward. I like Ann Ward too. I mean, she was different. She was quirky. She was high fashion. She was one of those that I think was an underrated winner. But now it's all coming to me. So I would say those are maybe like my top 3.
The top 3. Okay, and I think this is our last question from Randy Milan. How was it working with Johnny Wujek?
With Johnny Wujek, he's definitely an authority in fashion. He's somebody that knows his stuff, knew what he was talking about. Really impressive resume, and he was a nice guy. He was a nice guy behind the scenes. So I am happy that I had the opportunity to work with him. I think he's just really talented at what he does. The only complaint, and I said this on the show. I mean, this is nothing new. I said it on the show. I really like consistency, and now I try to aim a little bit more to be kind of consistent in some ways. And I think that sometimes Johnny's advice or what he was telling us to do didn't line up with the critique that we were getting. It almost seemed like he was telling us to do something, but then would criticize us for doing the very thing he told us to do. And it wasn't just me. I mean, it was a few people talking about that. And it could be because I think the panelists were brand new to the show too. So they were navigating those waters just like we were. They were like learning how to be judges. Whereas, Nigel was a seasoned pro and all of them were. So I think they were learning just like the contestants were learning. So you can't blame Johnny for that. I would say my experience was positive really with all the judges. The only thing I would say that was frustrating was maybe their lack of experience being judges, and that I think us as the models, it was kind of confusing for us sometimes.
Victoria, I must say, you did this interview so well. You speak so well.
Oh, thank you.
I think myself, top model fans out there in the world are very happy because you answered every question I think we have for you about this cycle. So I am so grateful to have shared in history with you.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. People have been asking me about this forever. So I'm so happy that we made this work. And you're awesome. This is just like hanging out with an old friend. We're both in Georgia. We're both Georgia peaches. We need to meet up and hang out sometime.
Yes, we must. I'll DM you my number after this.
That will be awesome. I look forward to that. Thank you, Oliver. And thank you, Twixters. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
I have one more question for you before you go.
Of course.
If you were in front of Tyra Banks right now, what would you say to her?
I would say, Tyra, thank you for the opportunity that you gave me and so many other girls. She has plucked so many people, out of virtual obscurity, right? I'll always be grateful. And I know a lot of girls after the show have said some stuff about Tyra and but I will not speak a bad word about Tyra Banks because she gave me, if I'm going to use the top model name, which I do, and I'm not going to sit around bashing certain things that I didn't like. So I think that Tyra is a businesswoman. I think she's been brilliant at a lot of the things that she's done. And I love that she's a model slash host, model slash book writer, entrepreneur. She's unashamed of all the stuff that she does. And I'm here for it. I like all the various, she's coming out with Smize cream. I don't know. I think it's ice cream. I think you can eat it. So it's ice cream. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm gonna get me some Smize cream.
Pop anybody in there. Sorry, Victoria, that I have to curse. I don't have to chop anyone in their goddamn neck. Did I miss any questions? Because I don't want anyone accusing me of things. I don't want to have to guillotine you and block you from ever watching me again. I went into the little page where it has all the questions. So if you guys did a super chat but didn't include your question, I did shout you out. And I did try to peel through it to see the questions.
It's getting intense in here. Yes, get these questions. I'm still here.
No, so. Victoria, the girls who know Oliver Twixt know who I am. They know I do not mind going to the realms with them because I am not that girl. I am this girl.
I heard that.
So all of you babies out there, do you have your questions before Victoria leaves? Because I want to make sure your questions get heard. I thought I went through and asked everyone. I thought I did. I went to the page that puts them all in order for me because, again, I have anxiety trying to read, and it's a bunch of you guys.
I know.
400 plus guys right now. That's a lot of things for one little guy to read and talk. That's a lot.
And let's just give it up for Oliver right now, because he was a rock star about all my tech issues, and he came up with this cool thing called StreamYard that I have never heard of. So look at him go. And yes, nobody be giving him any crap, because he's done awesome being the queerator, right?
You are
the queerator. I love that. When I saw queerator, I was like, yes, you are like the wordsmith. You're the branding. You need to get a copyright on that for sure. I love that.
Thank you so much. I'm looking. I'm just waiting and looking. I'm not going to scroll up. You better put it down here right.
Get these. I'm still here, guys. I'm not going anywhere. So speak now or forever hold your question.
It was the one about the homeless man. She already talked about the homeless man. Were you guys here early?
The chicken, the flying chicken. I think we talked about that.
We did talk about it.
Do they want us to talk about it more?
I'm trying to see. It was one about the homeless man. I'm just making sure. If it was one about the homeless man, she went into a whole story about what happened with her and the homeless man and the flying fried chicken.
I really wanted that fried chicken too. It was that's my, if you want to know my regret, that's my one regret. I should have left the to-go box in the holding area instead of taking it out there. I never got, and they didn't bring me a replacement chicken. So.
And with that, Miss Victoria, I thank you so much for your time. I hate that you saw me have to whoop my children in front of company, but I must gather them every
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Tough love for those chillins.
Listen, everyone, let's send hugs, kisses, and positive energy to Victoria Henley as she leaves us right now from this Twixt exclusive chat talking about Top Model Cycle 19
in the house. Thank you guys so much. This has been so much fun, meeting new friends, hanging out with you guys. Oliver, you are awesome. Let's do it again sometime if we can. Maybe they'll do All-Star. Maybe they'll do All-Stars, and then I can come back with a fresh new tea to spill. You never know.
Well, I may pass it on All-Stars in an official position, so I can't say anything. And if they were, if they were smart, they probably would have gotten you on contract. So I can't say anything.
That's true. Ooh, are you spilling some tea right now? Is there something I don't know?
No. All right. Thank you guys so much.
With that, he's signing off.
Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and share this video. Again, Victoria, I thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And hey, if you guys didn't get a question out, I'm on Insta. Well, at Victoria Henley, that's me, and he's at Oliver Twixt, and we've got our little post, so you can probably still ask a couple questions if you think of something else. Just if you do.
And with that, toodles, folks.
Bye, guys. Bye, Oliver. Stay safe.
Bye, you too. I can't believe you guys were trying to embarrass me with that in front of the company. Love you guys. Be sure to pray and kegel, and be sure to stay subscribed because we have a lot more Top Model chats upcoming. Oh, yes. Bye.